So, hello, Emanuel here, asking the question, why does the musical education suck? So, I just want to talk. You won't find the best theoretic answer for this, but let's think about this topic. Um, if we have, in one hand, musicians and composers who more and more, uh, let's say, engage in an apology of musical ignorance, to say in very direct terms. In other hand, we have, in my humble hypothesis, uh, a type of cultural elite that is not so dumb as you might think, uh, literally controlling the things. Okay, so you have the so-called music industry. Okay, and as we all know, in the Western civilization, it is the music industry, so the pop music, the latest hits, all this top 10 that the Rick Beato hates, they are creating the culture that we have today. And now in this new paradigm, this is, you can say that this is controlled by the algorithm of Spotify and things like this. But this is not the entirety of the truth. We have a very important component that is our education. So the school that you have, the university, the movies. So you have the education as a whole. Uh, People think that education is the school, but if you consider the Greek word for this paideia, it is always broader. It is always broader. So the education is always going on. When you open the Netflix after you finished your degree in medicine, your education is still going on. So society is constantly re-educating itself. Now, so the musical education of society is not only made by the algorithms, it's also made by indirect components that are affecting the way that you perceive the content that is shared by these platforms that are regulated by algorithms. Also, the whole idea of algorithm is not something so external as you might think, because there is someone behind the algorithm, of course. So we all know that the music industry is more or less what guides our musical mainstream, and we all know that all the big companies, the big techs, they are tied to a higher level of management that we can call the political elites. And the, let's say, macro capitalist elites, if I can say like this. So people who are above the democratic proceedings. And the most typical element and example of this are, for example, people like Elon Musk and Bill Gates, or simply the so-called Bilderberg group. Before you attack me as a conspirationist, Google and watch the documentaries about the Bilderberg group. So now the question is, do you think that these people don't know nothing about music? This is the question that I want to ask here. Do you think? Do you think that those who have a high impact in the financial source and management regarding the direction of the musical education or the education as a whole, do you think that they don't know nothing about music? I think you might be very naive about this question. In two, we can observe two things here. So, in one sense, perhaps they don't know nothing about music from the theoretic side, or they are not musicians. But the politic power of music, they know about. Oh, yeah, they know. And here's the point of my video. They know more about the politic power or the power of music than you. And this is the problem that we have. One of the main ideas or thoughts that I was trying to convey in the lectures that I gave at the conservatory in this semester. So now it is holidays because we start earlier. One of the most important messages was to try to give the students the necessary informations to at least hold the music in a higher regard. And this is not an easy task today, because it's not just about me playing Bohemian Rhapsody of the Queen and show here the power of the music. So, do you know when all the people are drunk at 3 o'clock in the pub singing Queen? See the power of the music. It's not just about this, okay? It is a set of many components that were systematically destroyed over the years, over and over again, in order to install and establish the culture that we have today. It is a culture where people can't even sing the preferred songs, even the bad songs. Do you understand the level? I mean, even the top 10 of today, I don't know if people are being able to even sing. Do you understand? And remember the lyrics. I don't know the statistic or the research, but I am almost sure that they don't. And the way that how can I justify this hypothesis? Because I have been following the pattern of things, how they are going. Okay, so there is a group of people that they are not musicians, they're not composers, and they probably know more about the function and power of music in society than you as a composer. Okay, and this is really a very important issue. This is a very important issue. Now, a second thing I would like to bring this conversation in a more specific direction. um, let's say these people support and give a lot of money to music education the right way, with a strong understanding of music history, enable people to read well, play well. First of all, this will it is you can't avoid that this will lead to the tradition of classical music or to jazz. So because these are the main source, okay, these are the source that you have. And jazz, by the way, everything that you hear, you can always more or less track back to jazz as one of the source of flourishing of a new style and of a new. So think, for example, progressive metal, for example. It is always the something of the jazz in the background. Okay, in this case of the jazz fusion. Okay. So when the pop music is better or go to a new direction or something like this that is more like interesting, sophisticated, so there is always a type of jazz influence. And jazz in itself is a very complex topic, exactly because of this, because jazz is always changing. It's always a kind of musical individualism, and it's always changed into a new variant of jazz. I would risk and try to define jazz as a casual, sophisticated desiderate of classical music. I don't know if it offends you or not, but it is this. So one of the most interesting aspects of jazz is exactly not the element of sophistication, but the element of casual sophistication, and it is what one of the elements that also sometimes annoys me. Um, so if you do full restoration of the musical education, you will go more or less to jazz and classical music, and perhaps folk music. But what is important for me here to notice is that you can't avoid the consequence of making people aware of the importance and beauty of instrumental music. Okay, I'm not doing here the statement that instrumental music is superior. I don't know. Yes and no, because Hegel has very interesting argument for the vocal music, and also other authors. So, but the point is, you would have to deal with the instrumental music. So, for example, in schools, when you are just a child in the school, so a society for a better level musical education would have, I don't know, children playing a minuet by Mozart. Okay, so in this paradigm, do you think that the global elites, those that manage how democracies have to appear in order to lie to you that they are a democracy, do you think that they are interested in instrumental music? Why would they be interested in a type of music where they can't be explicit or more effective with the cultural programming. Because how is a Satanist instrumental music? How is a instrumental music that leads you to lust? How is instrumental music that makes you dump? Okay, I know some examples. I know some examples. Is this fucking virus that plays in some coffee, modern cozy coffee places, or like lounge place, and it is this it's like the death of electronic music. Okay, you have the electronic music. It would be your last resort in order to perhaps control people. Okay, because the problem with the typical techno electronic music, the dance electronic music, okay, dance electronic music. I'm not speaking about Stockhausen, so or even my music. So the dance electronic music, the party music. Here we can discuss is if this can be uh, abused and perverted as an instrument for cultural degeneracy, and I think it would be not so hard to tell the difference. So I never went to one, but it's basically the club environment. So it's a very questionable environment. It is like it is almost like it's where the cultural degeneracy of today celebrates. Okay, if you want to find a place where this happened, I think it's this. This is one of those. One of those. Not it is not everything. But yes, the instrumental music as such still has this weak point. But overall, the instrumental music is where the educated musics are. Okay. So instrumental music is always associated with knowing music. Okay, with knowing music. So I remember when I was very young, then there was this song of the Iron Maiden that was totally instrumental, and it was the dun, 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 dun. Yes, I think it was the introduction to the Killers album. And I think the first album has the first not entirely instrumental song, but a huge section of instrumental music, like we have in the Phantom of the Opera. So I always, since as a young boy, I saw an important aspect of skill set there. So instrumental music is very associated with skill set. For my today's standard, still very basic, what the Iron Maiden did, but they strong point is not being complex. It is being visceral and direct. Okay, and amazingly melodic, actually. Okay, so this was the good things. Actually, I made this. So this is what the best part. It is a melodic treasure, and only few bands they have this quality. So, by the way, this is alone a video that I would something that I hold for a long time to talk about. So let's save for another time. So you have the melodic potential in this instrumental music, but we need way more when we are doing instrumental music. We need a sense of form. We need a sense of musical content. How can I give a musical title for this? So the whole world of instrumental music is like from people who know stuff doing the music to people who know stuff. Do you understand? So it's people who know stuff doing the music to people who know to appreciate music, and things like this. And there you can't put your corrosive, dumb, perverted lyrics. Okay. So regarding the problem between heavy metal and satanism, this is something that I have been more or less studying and think about since I am alive. And one of the folders that I have for things that I study is about this. So there are many stupid videos about this on YouTube. It's like too short. The question is, I think it's more serious than you think, and it deserves more a high level of nuance, no? So the lyrics are not there. Do you think that the global elite would have some interest in a music that is empty of direct, more or less direct communication? So how is the subliminary communication in instrumental music? I don't know if it works very well. So beyond this rhythm of the electric rave party, it is not so easy. Okay, you have music that can be amazingly chaotic, but then it is again a question of nuance, because one thing is the chaotic music of the Miraculous Mandarin of the Bartok or of Penderecki that has a poetic intention, so they want to communicate an idea. Another thing is instrumental music that is very chaotic and loud and very anarchic, that wants you to participate in their chaos. Okay, but this is one of the core elements of my philosophy of music, or said in a more humble manner in my notes on philosophy of music. So the difference between the contemplative function and the participative function. So when you hear Penderecki or Lutosławski or the beginning of the Miraculous Mandarin, or so things like this, you have, or even the chaos of the Le Sacre du Printemps of Stravinsky, the Rite of Spring. Even in these situations, it is about conveying a poetic idea through contemplation. Now, this type of instrumental music is not so. It's absolutely another thing than taking instrumental music from the pop or rock or heavy metal world that you can understand as a song without lyrics, more or less, because the the style stays more or less the same, but where it is not exactly always about showing a poetic idea. It can be, but you can still imagine a chaotic instrumental music of this kind, where you try to make people participate in the chaos, really like this. Okay, so then perhaps this type of music, this type of instrumental music, then would be beloved by the progressive globalist elites who, as you see, they hate the Western civilization. They hate Europe. No, Europe or Europa. They hate it. They also hate even multiculturalism. Multiculturalism, actually. Okay, this is also the truth. And what is happening now is also a deturpation, even of the whole idea of immigration and being a foreigner. It's they do they create a chaos with these notions. What we don't have a multicultural society. Okay, so this is also a very important lie. I don't hear Argentina music here in Vienna. I am not hearing Argentina music. Where is the flamenco? Or for example, where is the concert of a Japanese composer here in Vienna? No, we have just one single cultural invasion. So the globalist elites, they need to be they are one of the important cause for these evil things that we are experiencing nowadays. And when I say we are experiencing, not me as a part of some group, some politic group, I mean we all, everyone. So they have a lot to do with this, and they know what they do with music. This is the point. They know what they do with music. Okay, so the instrumental music, the last thing that they think about. They want the text in the music. Okay, now the text can appear in many forms. Okay, and one of the most important forms is the nonsensical form. Okay, so this is one of the ways that you can create a cultural degeneracy and confusion. So just use nonsensical text. So I have many examples for this. I think you can find also by your own. So nonsensical text, and other types of text, they are direct. So then it's the classic protest music. So there is a lot, and then there is also the subliminary level that you should consider. It can be more or less explicit. So here we can give margin for a higher or a wider or narrow scope for a type of obsession with a conspiracy. This is true. You can play the song of the last hit in the contrary and discover the word cocaine. Okay, I don't know. So this is the last interesting level for me, because it is not necessary. So we should observe the things that are elementary, necessary, and what is enough. So in the lyrics, in a frontal, in evident as observation. So many examples in hip hop or rock rock, in many genres, so heavy metal, but also in film music. So the lyrics, they are here's where it goes into people in a more effective way. Okay, so the song form, so the pop song, so the popular song, the folk song is in one hand necessary and beloved by people for a reason, because it is the easiest to sing, and it is just cool, no? So it was always like this. So in ancient Greece, they had the chromatic music, but they liked the diatonic music, of course, because it's easier to sing, easier to hear. And the chromatic music, it was the music for people who know more about music. And there is still the enharmonic type. So source for this you find in the Aristides Quintilianus, so peri musica, so it's the musica in Latin, about the music in English. So the song is very beloved. The song, to sing a song with refrain, with chorus, and it is okay. Now, what happens is that the globalist elites, I think they see the power of the song in a way higher level than you, the songwriter. Do you understand what happens? They understand the power of this in the formation of the society and of the culture in a deeper or more important level than you, the songwriter. So you are weak, they are strong. You see, for example, every major political change, like the communist revolution, so the Third Reich, so with the Hitler, so the French Revolution, the Mao Zedong in China, many of these radical political changes, they always affected music. And they affected music in a very conscious way, because they knew the power of music, they knew the function of music. Okay, so the Protestant revolution as well, with Martin Luther, when they started to sing more, so easier songs in the church, like you can sing, and then the polyphonic, the complicated thing was left aside. So these people know the power of the music, and you, the ignorant musician, you just follow whatever they say. Okay, it's not like people are saying things to you, but the culture of today is saying something. So this is everywhere. So this is, as I say, the concept of paideia. So the culture is educating itself the whole time. Okay, so you have your education as a child, but this education still goes on and on and on, and in your whole experience with your own culture. Okay, so you educate yourself, and then you can be conscious or unconscious about this. And the people, the globalist elite, they are conscious about this. Specifically, they are conscious about music, and I am sure they are. So I think this is one of the ways that you can answer why the musical education sucks, and principally why we don't have a culture that enables people to appreciate the depth and beauty of instrumental music. Okay, And by the way, this is one of the interesting aspects of the heavy metal music, is how they mix the song form with instrumental music. Okay, so it's it's like an interesting compensation. The jazz is a lot of times too much instrumental, pop music's too much singing, and I think this balance is an interesting aspect of heavy metal music. And by the way, I don't like to speak about genres, because you are very mistaken if you see myself. I like heavy metal music, so I don't even do this statement to myself. But I speak as a whole, as a genre here, for just for you understand better. This is a topic also that I want to speak in another video. So the difference between genre, the author, and the specific musical artwork or work. So very important to understand the difference. Principally, if you are a composer, the fans, I don't care. But if you are a composer, you relate to music in a very different way. So it's a very important thing to understand. You are not a fan, okay? At least in my conception, you are not. So, and if you are a fan, I don't know. Think about it. So, by fan, I mean someone who likes everything just because it's in the label of that band or that genre, okay? So, this is one of the possible ways to answer the question. And what is important here to highlight is this is really just one of the aspects. So, of course, it's not about everything about the global elite. So there are many other factors, of course, that influenced the change, that changed everything in the musical education, so that what we have today would make any Richard Wagner or Alexander Scriabin just laugh, okay, and vomit. There are many other aspects, okay? So you can track this decadence also from the point of view of the very immanence of the music theory. So how things developed, the problem of tonal and atonal music, the whole problematic with Schoenberg, and then how Adorno reframed the Schoenbergian project into a musical activism. So these things, they are way more complex, that are behind also the decadence and the change of the musical education. So you also have the whole question of the music. You can see from the perspective of the music universities, so the new type of university that we have, versus the conservatory system. Many conservatories, they were shut down or converted into a university. This is a very, actually, more or less socialist movie, actually. So this is wants to bring the power to the state, in my opinion, with this excuse that you need to research and things like this. But in many things regarding music, you don't need to research. You need to be a good musician, a good composer. Research is important, of course, but in another department. Do you understand the difference? So there where people need to research, of course. Then you research whatever, composition, the vocal chords. You should research, okay? And by the way, also in the topic research, it is a decadence. So Many people, they don't even know what is a MIDI mockup. Yes, go there. So if you go in the film scoring department, of course, but if you go in in some composition department, still today, they don't have any clue how things are going with the samples. They have a very distanced idea about this. They don't know how to operate a sampler or a synthesizer, and still they call themselves the avant-garde. So they are the neue Musik. They are the contemporary. But they are not. Because if you are not exploring the MIDI technology and the electroacoustic possibilities as we have today, you are not a contemporary avant-garde, my friend. It's not a big problem, but you are just stop behaving like as if you were the new John Cage. It is just know where you are, because there is no way. So if you want to be the most contemporary possible, you will not only see the questions and problems regarding in the field of harmony and timbre orchestration. What is timbre? Still the postmodern paradigm, but you have to go to the postmodern paradigm, and this will be that you bring all this chaos that was going on and still add a new chaos, that is to know how to install an East-West library in Logic Pro. Okay. Or to operate a sampler, because here you see the possibilities and the problems that are really being played out today. Okay, then you can combine with your alternative techniques. I don't know, a la Pierre Boulez, the notated techniques. Then you combine, then you explore these things. But the true contemporary music of today, in my view, would certainly be about this. By the way, I suspect that I'm giving you a huge secret and gold pill. So yes, because the few people who handle the electroacoustic music as such, they are still very conservative. So you have the Philippe Manoury, Collège de France. So he has very interesting, in-depth philosophy of the electroacoustic things, etc. He used the mechanism, etc. The new technology, but it's still with an old approach. It is still like Stockhausen 2.0, so the next update of the Stockhausen. So in this sense, they are still conservative. So I don't find that this is the true contemporary avant-garde. Okay, perhaps just a matter of classification. I don't know, but if you ask me, this is my answer. And it's not I don't know if this is a big problem that the guy is in an older version of things. You can't say. What matters for me is that the music is good. It's more important, actually. But anyways, so the instrumental music is one of the points to observe about. The song is perverted and misused. The power of music and the functions of music is ignored by those who need to know this, and abused by those who control the culture that we have today. more ideas on these topics, you can study in depth with me in a private lesson, or perhaps I really think about opening a class on philosophy of music. I don't have all the texts written as I wanted. I have many texts, but I don't have texts ready to publish, and an offline recorded course ready to launch. However, I think this chaos is can be seen in a good way. So I don't know. I think and study about this more than, I don't know, 10 years. So I did the philosophy study and stop it, then come again. So I have different ideas about this, and I think that the most important thing would be to discuss in class. Okay, to discuss in class and to do in a seminary mode. So discussion in class, online, text, reading of text. Then from there, I polish my notes and my scriptum. I have a scriptum given the structure for a course. This I have, and the whole bibliography. This I have. The books I read, not all of them, but many of them, to keep a lot, so enough to keep you busy. So in this sense, we could start something. I am not entirely sure. However, if you give me some feedback that you have interest in developing a little more a systematic approach to philosophical issues of music that concerns the composer, okay, the composer, let me know, because I am doing this, let's say ultimately I am doing this with you and for you. So we build the thing together in some sense. Okay, so perhaps you help me also take some decisions. And today I am finishing my a long marathon of studies in the last days that I did, and officially I might be coming tomorrow back to my composer mission. As a composer, I'm still a very practical musical and composer. I have a concert on 5th July in Vienna, where you can hear my music at the organ. And this video was a way of me doing this, perhaps the conclusion of these days of intensive studies in some matters of philosophy of music. But I am doing a revision in the classical era, so the whole things there in the start of the history, and suddenly I am here doing a compensation, talking about the future and the present, and the picture, the wonderful mega hyper blast super picture of the Derek Riggs here for the Iron Maiden album Somewhere in Time is here by mistake. I don't know. I had to put some picture to talk about. Like, it's a podcast thing, like podcast just talking. So I thought about this. So about, I don't know, culture chaos, and I think it fit well. Although I would like to reserve this for a moment where I would talk about perhaps the music and the album. But I think this is an awesome picture. It's really also great artwork, despite being pop artwork genre. This is really a mega. It's a masterpiece of illustration and drawing. There is no. It is just cool, okay, you can say it's influenced by the Blade Runner, but I don't care. It just took and eated my soul and won my heart the first time as I saw this in a huge LP that my brother still has, by the way. So, and we saw these things being launched. So, by the way, the Fear of the Dark album. So we took these things in the hands when they are being launched, and this is a very interesting feeling. So that's these discussions, they are not easy, and we keep talking about these things, and don't simplify what I say, because actually always when I say something, I don't even know how to say this, because I see the things in a complicated way and I have to simplify. But we lack of nuance and dialectics, okay, and this is another symptom that we have today. So the algorithm will always be happy when you say something that only yes is true and no is not true. So the nuance is not so interesting for the algorithm. You can't even do a thumbnail when you do a video where you have a doubt. So doubt is strictly and severely punished by the world of today. So this is why I have to also to have more time to develop what I'm saying. So see you later. Ciao, ciao, ciao.